with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. Thank you so much for being here, and to all that are here and are coming here, especially all you snuggle bunnies out there, because that's what Nessie says. Hello, all my snuggle bunnies. That's sweet. I'd like to count myself among your snuggle buddies. Wait, that didn't sound good at all. Sorry.
Whoa.
Platonically. Sorry, I got to turn on the moon here as I go.
Besties, as they say.
We're besties. But welcome, everybody, to the Wednesday edition of the Paranormal Portal. It is... I dropped something, huh?
You did.
It is hump day. It was the moon. The moon controller. Hump day.
Hump day.
And I got with me my right-hand man, the big toe himself, the beard of the portal. Let me please welcome my good friend and co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard. How you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, we are doing good. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure you find Don on TikTok. What is it? TikTok. What is your?
At Don Longbeard.
Okay, just at Don Longbeard. Yeah, mine had numbers after it. Like, what was it? Brent Thomas.
Brent space Thomas 163.
Yeah, Brent space Thomas.
And then when you put it in there and search, it'll say Paranormal Portal, and underneath it, it'll say Brent Thomas. You'll see it. We're
getting TikToked, folks.
We're talking the ticks and ticking some
We're
talks.
ticking the talks and talking the ticks, and we're I don't know. We're just diversifying our online presence as much as possible. So we did a little pre-episode TikTok today that's on Don's. So if you find that, definitely check it out. But we are, of course, all set to celebrate the wonderful holiday here in the U.S. that is Thanksgiving. And this is kind of our Thanksgiving episode.
Hi, Mom.
Where we give thanks for all of you. Hi, Mom. Happy pre-Thanksgiving to all of you. And we just want you to know that we are thankful for all of you. Don?
Yes.
Yeah, we're thankful, right?
Yes. I'm following along. I didn't know it was.
Okay.
But
well,
yes,
yeah.
We are thankful. We are thankful that we can count you as our paranormal fam.
We are all fam here, but folks,
we are Portal fam.
We have watched the show continue to grow, albeit very organically, like a slow growing grass. But it is growing.
Not a mold, it's grass, huh?
it's not like a rash or something. It's more like it's grass because it's a verdant field of joy that is ever increasing, but. It is something that we take a lot of pride in. We haven't
like the savannas in Africa.
Yeah, I don't know. But we of course we've watched it grow all through the years. From Don, you remember those shows when we'd be like 10 people are there, 10 people are watching. Oh my God! And we were having little parties like, wow, we had 10 people. And it was a big thing, and it still is a big thing. Even 10 people still is a big thing. But to watch it to what it's become today, and all of you guys being here and all of the love that you continually give us. So thank you. A special thank you goes out to all of you who have helped to make the portal what it is, because, you guys have helped the growth. You guys have brought the growth more than anything. We don't advertise the show outside of our social media pages. We don't, maybe we should, but it's something I've toyed with. But then again, it's everyone that's a part of this has, opted in themselves. It's not like we've gone out and I just had an offer today from a guy who's like, hey, do you want some more subs? And I was like, well, I'm always glad when I get more subs. I can get you over 10,000. I was like, thanks, but no thanks. Because, I know that's a service that some people take advantage of, but I've always taken great pride in the fact that the portal has grown because people have found it, because people have enjoyed it. I'd love to see those numbers, continue to grow and swell up and
like our hearts for all of you.
Wow. Yeah, just like that. But, we've never opted into any of the tricky stuff.
10 times the size.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I thanked the guy, but I was like, no, you know what? We've grown organically, and I love our show the way it is, and we'll grow when more people come in. So
exactly.
But it does mean the world every time we start the shows, and I know this is sounding a little sappy and cheesy, but honest to God, folks,
I'm about to start crying actually.
Yeah, well, Don's getting misty, but it's just a really cool feeling to do this, to have started this show years ago and to continue to see it, become something that so many of you guys appreciate and enjoy. And that's the biggest honor of all, is doing this show and knowing that you guys continue to show up and be a part of it. And many of you are watching it after the fact, which is wonderful as well. I mean, of course, the live shows are a lot of fun when we can chat and talk with you guys and interact and stuff. But if the only chance you can see it is when we're not live, then thank you so much for that support. Please, continue to spread the word if you wouldn't mind. And we'll continue to see how far this can go. But today's big development is TikToks. So, I mean, it's something, right? It's something. We're getting out there little pieces, like dipping our toes into the different pools.
Well, and I also have a Snapchat too. So.
Oh, okay. I know Snapchat. I know that's a thing. I just don't really know what it is. I've heard about it forever, but yeah, Snapchat. I guess I'll have to get one of those too, huh?
If you want to.
I don't know. I mean, don't you just like take pictures of yourself and that's kind of the thing?
Well, I took that TikTok and I cut a little bit out and threw it on there.
Okay.
So it's gonna be like 5 seconds snaps.
Well, what is your Snapchat? Do you have an idea you want to let people know?
My Snapchat is well, here you go. Don Longbeard.
Oh, there you go, folks. Easy enough to remember. So
yeah.
You can find the beard on Snapchat as well. I'm not on there currently.
There's a QR code that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah. There's the share snap code. Okay, there.
So can you put it on the camera and they could QR code you?
I don't know. Let me see. Facebook news. Okay, so I just put it on. My Facebook. Okay. Oh, there it is. I don't know if it'll work through a computer screen.
Let me give you a full screen here. There's Don's Snap.
I don't know if it works like that.
Maybe, but hold it still.
I gotta find a spot.
There you go.
Hold it square.
Yeah, that's not bad. There you go. So that's Don's Snap. See the short beard, though? What's up with that?
Yeah, they didn't have anything long. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, folks, we're getting more and more involved into the interwebs and finding our homes, new little niches where we can fester and spread. I don't know. That probably sounded really horrible. But anyway, it's just an ever-evolving thing, the Paranormal Portal. And so we love that you guys are a part of it. So first and foremost, again, thank you guys, because that's what we're really thankful for.
Thank you. I'll name my turkey after you.
I'll sing your name every time I take a bite. I don't know. I'm just kidding. All right, folks, but we have a fun-filled plethora of paranormal goodness to get to tonight. As always, we're going to do the news. We're going to get into some creatures and cryptids and other weirdness, the kind of stuff you've grown to love here on the show. But this is our basically our Thanksgiving show to celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday, and we couldn't be happier that all of you are here to enjoy that with us. Let's see, I guess that's all I got on the front end, so I hope you're ready, because it's about to get spooky.
Let's make a run for the back end.
I don't know. I don't know what you're running for, brother. All right, let's just hit the button. wouldn't it be funny, Don? So like, what are we on 5 years now on YouTube now? This is the fifth year, right?
17. No, we're coming up. August 22 will be 5 years.
Of this next year?
Or July, actually, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
22, yeah.
So we're coming up on our 5th year.
4.5, yeah.
But so we've been at it for this long, and we've grown pretty well. But wouldn't it be something if, like, TikTok just explodes for us, and all of a sudden we've got this huge following? That'd be hilarious.
Insane.
That would be something. I don't know. It's I've heard it can happen. I don't know how that stuff works, but we're just going to keep plugging into everything that we can until they kick us off. But anyway, let's get to the news. What do you say, Don?
Let's do the news.
The news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk, and we have some cool news to go and get into tonight in honor of Thanksgiving Paranormal Portal episode. Are there any cryptids that prefer to eat the skin?
Use duck fat. Spray it. You can actually buy sprayed duck fat, and then you spray it on top of the turkey.
Really?
And then it gets nice and crispy, crunchy, and it's got that duck fat on it.
That sounds lovely. However, I would just make a duck. I'd screw the whole turkey thing.
You'd screw a turkey and eat a duck?
That's dick. You're such a dick. And in other news,
Wow.
man, you got some zingers today.
That came out faster than I expected it to.
you have like zero filter tonight. It's like blah, blah, blah. All right, thanks for that, Don.
Sorry.
Speaking of running in the rear, Don, while to go. All right, here's our first article up from unexplained-mysteries.com. Comes a medium claims old Bible was placed in the attic by a ghost. This is from November 24th, 2021, ladies and gentlemen, right off the presses. It says paranormal investigator Yvonne Hydes got quite a surprise when she found that the book had materialized in her house. Wow, that's an apport. Yvonne, who hosts paranormal tours and events with Scottish Ghost Company, first became suspicious when she discovered the old book in her attic, despite having never seen it before. Her husband Alex had no idea where it had come from either. I was completely confused as I used the loft regularly. At first, I assumed my husband had been up that same day and put it there, Yvonne told the Daily Record. We have no idea who it belonged to or where it came from, as we have lived in the house for 24 years and are up and down and in the loft regularly and have both never seen it before. Her first thought was that the Bible was connected to her grandmother. However, it turned out that she had no recollection of it either, and neither did anyone else in the family. We really have no idea who or where it came from. None, she said. As it happened, however, the medium and investigator David McCabe did have an idea of where the mysterious book might have come from, the site of a previous investigation in Ayrshire. I believe this is a classic example of an apport, which is where an object disappears from one location and reappears in another, he said. I think the original owner of the Bible was a resident of a derelict building that we investigated. Having figured out who we were and him wanting his family to have his Bible, he decided to make it appear in Yvonne's loft, knowing she would come across it. Yvonne is now hoping to reunite the family in the Bible's owner, a World War II soldier by the name of Robert Litterick, Litterick, with the book, if they can make contact with anyone who might know who he was. We would love to maybe be able to add it back to the original owner or their family, she said. That's really cool. Is that possible? Sure. I think that's plenty possible, especially in many families, especially back in a generation or two ago. The family Bible was truly an heirloom. That was a treasure, because there were generations and generations that had possession of these old Bibles. And so to lose that or to not have that in the family, I can see for a spirit would be probably devastating, because to them it was one of their most treasured possessions. And so, yeah, if something's going to get apported with the idea of bringing it back to the family or the people, then yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. That would be something I wouldn't have any problem believing. So, very cool. Very cool, Don.
Those are attachments.
I don't know why they don't import some cash.
I know. Just some old gold coins.
Gold
it doesn't
coins.
have to be cash.
Yeah, gold
you know,
coins.
I mean, your grandparents or great grandparents, collected coins from all over the world, and some of them got to be gold, or at least worth some gold.
Absolutely, I think that'd be a great thing if they like. Where's that old Civil War treasure that's missing?
Exactly.
A bunch of gold bullion that was hijacked and hidden and is still lost.
It's in Africa, according to
The Civil War gold.
what's his name? Doggone it.
Oh, Josh Gates or something.
No. Gosh.
I got nothing after that.
Gosh, what was his name?
I'm not.
He wrote a book called Sahara.
Sahara.
And the movie had Matthew McConaughey in it, and
Oh,
it was about an old Ironside that had escaped from the South and somehow made it into the desert in Africa, down by Mali.
Okay.
So, whatever.
Whatever.
But it was a good book, anyhow.
that is really cool. Maybe it's so, but coming up next from unexplained-mysteries.com is the Pentagon announces new UFO investigation unit. Oh, yeah, it's brand new, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like it never occurred to them before to do this. Yeah, whatever. This is just the latest press release. The Department of Defense has officially announced its latest effort to get to the bottom of the UFO mystery. Known as the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group. God, those acronyms are just brutal. Really? Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group? What the hell is that? Oh, my God. Or AOIMSG. The new unit will...
Did you catch that last part? MSG.
Yeah,
Because this all gives you a headache.
it's all monosodium glutamate. The new unit will serve as a successor to the U.S. Navy's Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. It's like-
The UAPT, that's the Luizondo.
Yep, Louis
His ex department.
Elizondo, yeah.
It's his ex's department.
Which is funny because anything to do with the government, they probably had millions of dollars of committees and discussions in order to just go, hey, let's just give it this new name, and it's the same basic thing we've been doing anyway, but let's have a big party about the fact that we're going to call it this now. This is just government at work, ladies and gentlemen. Just a bunch of fluffy crap. But anyway, according to an official release by the Department of Defense, the AOIMSG will synchronize efforts across the department and the broader U.S. government to detect, identify, and attribute objects of interest in special U.S. use airspace, or SUA. SUA. And to assess and mitigate any associated threats to safety of flight and national security. The Pentagon has also announced the formation of the Airborne Object Identification and Management Executive Council. Oh, God. Which will be made up of DOD and other intelligence agency officials.
Intelligence.
And will offer a venue for U.S. government interagency representation. God, that's just a bunch of waste. Ugh. The official release goes on to say incursions by any airborne object into our SUA pose safety.
Our sewer.
SUA. Welcome to my SUA. Pose safety of flight operations and operations security concerns and may pose national security challenges. DOD takes reports of incursions by any airborne object, identified or unidentified, very seriously and investigates each one. Right. Yeah. Project Blue Book, anyone? This decision is a result of planning efforts and collaboration conducted by OUSD and other DOD elements at the direction of the Deputy Secretary Hicks.
Deputy dog.
Yeah. To address the challenges associated with assessing UAP occurring on or near DOD training ranges and installations highlighted in the DNI preliminary assessment report submitted to Congress June 2021. The report also identified the need to make improvements in processes, policies, technologies, and training to improve our ability to understand UAP.
Why don't you just choke on a spoonful of alphabet soup right there? because the whole thing just screams. And well, let me read what Rachel says, because like Rachel is on it. She's on it. I think they're saying that. I think they're saying all of that to make people feel safe, air quotes, for the time being.
Sure.
So there you go.
Yeah, it's just let's just throw letters at it and make it sound like we know what the hell we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially, they have no idea what's going on. They don't know what to do about it. But this is a bunch of paper trail to show that they're working on it. Your government is going to protect you, ladies and gentlemen. And here's the thing. If these are truly advanced, super advanced intelligences from other points of origin, there's not a damn thing anybody can do about it anyway. It's like... what would it be like? Let me come up with an example here. It's like sending kindergartners against the Navy SEALs or something. It's like, come on. We have no idea what these things are. We have no idea what they're capable of. We just know that they are something we don't know. And I just think this is just a bunch of fluffy bureaucracy to essentially. I think the other part of it is not only is it trying to make people feel better, but they're trying to control the narrative.
Right.
They're just gathering more resources to continue to control the narrative. And I think that's the disgusting part. It's like we don't need someone to mitigate the narrative. People have managed to deal with the tic-tac craft just fine.
Right.
All that fear of, if we let people know, it'll just undermine the society as we know it, and there'll be mayhem and pandemonium. Well, the Navy released those things, albeit reluctantly. They were released from the Pentagon, and people have been like, "Oh yeah, I figured." It's been no problem. So why do they feel the need to stamp on top of everything? Well, it's all about control. I just can't imagine anything else.
Yeah, control, money.
Funding, money.
The TTBSA providing exotic materials to the military.
The military, for study, folks.
Yes, they're studying it.
Yep.
Where do you think fiber optics came from? Blah, blah. I hear Velcro came from it too, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm telling you, it could be a lot of things. But I think that's a bunch of fluffy crap, and it's almost painful to read those articles just because.
And that's just because of the alphabet soup.
Right. It's just a bunch of legal double speak and mumbo jumbo.
It's a turn here and a twist there.
Yeah. It's just and it's almost like they're intentionally trying to obfuscate any merit to it just because they just throw enough big words at it. It's like, oh, well, they got acronyms for it. They must be serious.
Oh, my goodness. We should listen to them.
God, they got a whole bunch of acronyms. They know what they're talking about. It's like, whatever.
It's an official acronym, too. Yeah. It's government.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, these guys. And I think, again, I have to say that at least the internet gives us the ability to have this open flow of ideas and information. I mean, now more so than ever in the history of the world, right?
It's on Facebook.
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's plenty of people that are stomping on top of that as well. But my point is that, people have more knowledge at their fingertips now than ever before in the history of our species. And we have the ability to find things out. And thank God, because I think finally, even the most, I don't know how to say this, even the most devoted person towards the old red, white, and blue. And this isn't an issue of patriotism. It's an issue of those people that blindly believe that the government is just altruistic and always working in the best interest. And there are those people, right?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of those people.
Yeah, and that's the scary part. But I think at least now, granted, there's a bunch of bad information out there too. Don't get me wrong, but at least we have the ability to look into things
right
now without having to go through these gatekeepers. The gatekeepers used to control everything,
right?
And now at least there's avenues to gain more information and to find more of a story than ever before. And so, I don't know, but these kind of articles to me are they're grueling. They're just grueling to read because it's just a bunch of polysyllabic words with huge acronyms that don't really say anything,
Yeah.
They just say, hey, we've got a department for this. We're okay, guys. Whatever.
It's taken care of.
Yeah.
We have intelligence all over it.
We got your back. Yeah, exactly. Just quit putting knives in it.
Yeah.
You too, Brutus?
You too, government?
So anyway, let's continue on our journey here, folks, as we go to the next one. And this one's coming from the UK. And this is somebody observing a UFO, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. And this is unexplained-mysteries.com. Glasgow UFOs went straight into orbit, claims witness. Footage recorded earlier this week shows two unidentified objects hovering over the Scottish city. According to the recent article in the Daily Record, a joiner who had been working at the Dalmarnock wastewater treatment works filmed the objects just after 11 a.m. on Monday. I looked up, and there thought they were two drones hovering for about 3 minutes, he told the newspaper. We then realized there was a police helicopter which had stopped dead behind us. I'm not sure if it was just a coincidence that was there or not. While it's difficult to determine for sure what the objects could be in the video itself, it's what the witness claims he saw after the camera had stopped filming that makes the sighting particularly intriguing. After we stopped filming, the objects went straight up and into orbit simultaneously, he said. They did not shoot up, but went up gradually. I stopped filming as I thought I'd better get on with work. Thought he'd better get back to work.
Well, they didn't shoot up. That's nice.
Yeah.
Bunch of junkies.
It's very bizarre. You can check out the video for yourself. Well, it's already tagged by N4 News officials. I did, on one of the other news episodes, I did play one of these videos, and for the most part it hasn't been a problem, but I did get a copyright warning and had to clip it out, so I don't know. What do you think, Don? Should we look at this? Or
Yeah.
looks like just a couple of dots, but all right. We'll look at it, but I might have to clip this out, but we'll see what happens. And whoa, let's get rid of that. That's a lot of noise. This is N4 News official. Let's see.
Said he was out working at the Dalmarnock way.
Oh, computer voices. Yeah, those are great. He was out working. This is just the narrative, and there's the dot. It looks like right there.
And it just disappeared.
Nope, there it is again. It came back into view, but there it's like fading and coming in, right?
It's moving too.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's moving.
It's right there. There, it moved a little bit.
Oh, it's moving a whole lot.
Oh, now he's moving away. What's he? Oh, is he going to the police helicopter now? Yep, there's the police helicopter that he said was there. Now he's going to go back and look. The police say, get back to work. Nothing to see here.
Okay.
Oh, there it is right there.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know what that is. Just a bird or something? Or is that, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. Oh, this
Well,
one
it's
had a
gotta
light
be,
too.
yeah.
This one flashes
Oh,
too.
it did, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a metallic surface then. Okay. Well, that is interesting. So you can check out N4 News Official for more information on this, folks,
There you go.
if you want to hear it. But very cool. Please subscribe to their channel. Definitely should follow it and subscribe and all that stuff. Oh, that's kind of cool. Running waterfalls in a jar. Very cool. All right. But that's the latest article. So apparently there was UFOs in Glasgow, Don.
Uh-huh. That's
Yeah.
That's over by our friend Kev, right?
That's by Kev. Yep, absolutely.
By our friend Kev.
Kev Baker, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't checked out the Kev Baker Show, you should. He's a dear friend of ours and does a phenomenal job. And we follow them on Friday nights on their Freaky Friday Fun Fest. I don't know. That Fun Fest was my idea. But anyway, cool. All right, that was that one. Let's get to the next one. This is more of a, I don't know. I better look at this one, though, too, to make sure how long it is. Some of these are painfully long because they get real scientific on me.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty long. Okay, we're going to skip this one.
Oh, but that...
You want to see this?
Well, is that the one talking about how it, like, rains, like, iron on, like...
On hot exoplanet. Well, I guess we could read some of it. Let's check it out. Unexplained-Mysteries reports metal rain pummels surface of ultra-hot exoplanet. Some extrasolar worlds are so large and so hot that they experience weather like nothing seen on Earth. Ultra-hot Jupiters, named as such because of their physical similarities to the planet Jupiter, are exoplanets that orbit stars other than the Sun with temperatures so high that the molecules in the atmosphere are completely torn apart. Wow. They are among the most extreme environments in our galaxy. They also whip around their parent stars in orbits that only last a few days. and astronomers still aren't sure how it's possible for them to form. While these harsh conditions might sound like they're as extreme as it gets, astronomers are starting to realize that they may just be the tip of the very, very hot iceberg. In a recent study published in Astrophysical Journal Letters, my colleagues and I discovered that one of these exotic worlds in particular is even more extreme than we'd ever thought. I'll just read this and see where we end up. Discovered in 2016, WASP 76b is perhaps the most well-known of these ultra-hot worlds. At double the size of our own planet, Jupiter, WASP 76b has day-side temperatures reaching a whopping 2,400 Celsius.
Wow.
And it takes less than 2 days to orbit its parent star. Its claim to fame, however, is a 2020 study suggesting that liquid iron might literally be raining down from its skies.
Right.
More recent research, yet to be peer-reviewed, has called this result into question. There's no doubt that the conditions on WASP 76b are totally unlike anything here on Earth. WASP 76b can therefore offer us a window into the most extreme physical and chemical processes in our galaxy, and studying its harsh alien conditions can help us place our own solar system into context.
Right.
Well, there you go. I don't think I want to continue reading that.
Yeah, no,
But that's really wild. You know what I was thinking of?
Huh.
Riddick. The Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that one prison planet, and during the daytime, it's so hot that,
molten.
yeah, everything is melting and on fire.
Right.
Yeah, on the surface, so the actual prison is subterranean. Yeah, pretty creepy stuff, man. That would be a horrendous deal. But there you have it. The next one up, folks, is coming from, of course, unexplained-mysteries.com. And this one this one is about as much of a nightmare scenario, I think, as anyone could imagine. And to let you know what it is, let's check it out. Unexplained-mysteries.com. Dead man is found alive after a night in morgue freezer. Wow, that is, oh my God.
Yeah.
Hopefully he was at least unconscious and wasn't aware he was in a morgue freezer.
Like a temporary coma. or
Yeah,
something,
yeah, exactly. Like
knocked the hell.
November 22nd, 2021. A man in India who was involved in a motorcycle accident was not quite as dead as doctors had believed.
Not quite as dead.
He was not dead yet.
He's only mostly dead.
He's not dead yet.
It'd take a miracle.
Bring out your dead. 45-year-old Shrikesh Kumar, who sustained serious injuries after being hit by a motorcycle in Moradabad, was rushed to a private medical facility where he was promptly pronounced dead by a doctor. The emergency medical officer examined him and said hospital superintendent Rajendra Kumar, and he did not find any signs of life and hence declared him dead. But wait, there's more. After the police were notified about his demise, his body was placed in a mortuary freezer to await post-mortem analysis, which was scheduled to be carried out the following day.
Oh, thank God.
When his family arrived to initiate the paperwork for the autopsy, however, everyone was shocked to discover that Shrikesh was in fact very much alive, spending 6 hours in the morgue. Oh, wow. He was quickly rushed back to the clinic for treatment, where he currently remains in a coma.
Okay.
This is nothing short of a miracle, said Rajendra. An investigation has since been launched to determine how this could have happened. It's not clear whether or not he will survive the ordeal. Wow, you'd hope after all that the man's going to pull through.
No kidding.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's obviously, he was in a coma.
yeah, but
So-
I guess they caught that he was breathing or something.
Wow.
And thank God, so he wasn't aware that he was spending the night in a morgue freezer.
Well, and plus being conscious, unconscious and shut down like that, it creates a better, environment for repair and
Sure.
care of itself. The body. The body heals when you're asleep. So,
Yeah, exactly. And
but
that's
I don't know if there's much of a difference between coma and sleep, though.
I think there's quite a bit of difference.
might be a
Yeah.
big difference.
Yeah.
So it might not be the same. So
No.
there you go.
But at any
there you
rate,
go.
that's really cool, and I'm glad the guy was discovered before he was too late. But
We
my
left him
God,
in the freezer. Now he's freezer burnt, but he's still alive.
could you imagine waking up in a body bag?
Oh God, no.
Just, God.
That's like one of my big fears is I don't want to be buried. I want to go ahead and just burn me up and, throw me on the
Little
grill,
dry rub.
whatever. Yeah, exactly. And get rid of me that way. But one of my big things is I better damn well be dead.
Yeah,
Because
you
I
better
don't
make
want to
sure.
wake up in a flames. Am I in hell? Ah!
Yeah, that's horrid.
Yeah.
That would be horrendous, folks. But
Teach a man to build a fire.
he can cook you a pig. Oh man, that's
But if you set a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life.
which won't be long. It will
Hopefully
be a
not.
really short span, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's creepy though. I just can't imagine.
Yeah,
Oh.
Rachel said that was a very chilling story.
Oh Jesus, man, that woman's quick.
I know, she's good.
She's good. She did nails them. But there you go, folks. That's a bizarre story. That's not your everyday story, dude. All right, let's check out the next one, which is it kind of looks like a dogman creature.
What?
But let's see. This one could be dogman, I'm saying. By the description, it sounds pretty solid, but it says from unexplained-mysteries.com, folks, kayaker claims to have photographed half man, half dog creature. Now, this is someone we've actually talked to, and he was recently interviewed by our good friend Cade Moya, and this story has been picked up all over the place. And congratulations, Cade. If you're listening, Don's wearing your shirt. I almost wore the same shirt, but
In honor of you making the list as well.
yeah, making the list.
Making the list.
All right, well, here's the story, folks. The man had been out fishing in Australia when he captured the image. Is there a dog-like hominid stalking the wilds of the Australian outback? One man who's been identified only as John certainly seems to think so. The story goes that John had been out fishing in his kayaks on Boxing Day last year when he had an encounter that has since likened to reports of a half-dog, half-man creature or dogman that has been cited in the U.S. state of Michigan as far back as the 1800s. I noticed that every time I took a stroke with the paddle of my kayak, whatever this thing was, it was taking a stride to each paddle I was taking, he told the Believe Paranormal and UFO podcast. The creature actually got it in the photo, and what I think it is, I've spoken to a few people, and I reckon it's a dogman. After that, I couldn't go back to the area to check it out myself. I was petrified for probably a month after it. I was waking up in the middle of the night and seeing this creature in my dreams. When he finally did pluck up the courage to return to the area to go fishing again, he heard what he believed to be a large creature smashing its way through the bushes, followed by loud roaring noises. I'd heard about the dogman and thought it was a joke, but actually I've had encounters with it now, and it's terrifying, he said. Unfortunately, the photograph he did manage to capture is inconclusive, showing an indistinct shape in the trees that could arguably be anything at all, or perhaps nothing more than a gap in the foliage. Nevertheless, John himself remains absolutely adamant that what he encountered was real. There's the photo, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you looking. And this does look like a dogman head. I mean, it does. There's no other dark gaps in the foliage either, so that's why I don't think that is what it is, because there's only little spots that have that same darkness. Now, it could be that this is just darker and this is a branch from this here, but it also could be a dogman, especially given the sounds he was hearing, the roars, and the other evidence. I mean, just taking a picture like this and saying, I think I caught a picture of a dogman is ambiguous.
Right.
But taking a picture like this along with the anecdotal evidence, I think is at least...
Gives it more credence.
Yeah, it gives it more possibility and more credibility. So very cool. And I've talked to John. He emailed me and has shared his information with me. And I think I interviewed him.
Yeah, I think he was on a podcast.
Yes, he was on one of our
We did a
podcasts
podcast
last year or something.
Yeah.
I think it was last year. But
Yeah.
very cool. And congratulations to Cade for getting that picked up and getting the notoriety from that. Very cool. That's how we roll, folks. We got us a good community of people that we're affiliated with, so I can't complain. But let's get on to the next one. And the next one is having to do with Scotland again. We're going back to Scotland. You ready to go back to Scotland, Don?
Let's go back to Scotland, yeah. Back over to, Mr. Cav's
Because
territory.
if it's not Scottish, it's crap.
It's crap.
All right. This comes to Ghosts and Hauntings from unexplained-mysteries.com. Scotland's most haunted pub is named after a banshee encounter. And the pub has seen its fair share of these ghost sightings. The notoriously haunted establishment is reportedly home to all manner of paranormal happenings. Nestled among the buildings in Nidri Street in Edinburgh, Scotland, the Banshee Labyrinth is perhaps the quintessential definition of a haunted pub. Those who work at and frequent this outwardly quiet establishment, or quaint establishment rather, have reported all manner of supernatural occurrences, ranging from glasses throwing themselves across the room to creepy, disembodied sounds that can be heard in the corridors in the middle of the night. Every good haunted pub also needs its own sinister story, or history, and the Banshee Labyrinth is no exception. Constructed directly into a part of the now infamous Edinburgh vaults, the building was once frequented by all manner of ne'er-do-wells, including thieves, murderers, and even witch hunters. Some believe that the spirits who frequent the pub today are those of the women who were wrongfully accused of witchcraft, therefore being put to death with no hope of appeal or escape. One particularly famous encounter occurred while renovation work was being carried out. One of the workmen reported that he had seen a crying woman inside the building, but when he went over to check on her, she lifted her head, revealing pale skin and empty eye sockets. Ooh, that's not what you like to see in grieving women. She let out a pierced, hellish scream, prompting the man to flee in terror. The story goes that only a few minutes later he received a phone call to tell him that a member of his family had passed away. The incident prompted the pub's owners to change its name to the Banshee Labyrinth soon after. And yeah, that's what the Banshee's wail is supposed to foretell, is a death.
Right.
And so if you hear that could be a bad omen for sure.
Could be bad news.
That could be bad there, huh?
It could be a little bad. Yeah, I think so.
That's really wild. But that's a cool story. Again, a lot of cool stories tonight, huh? But, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude our journey into the news. So.
Oh, night, Nessie. Bye.
Oh, she got to go?
Apparently she got to go.
Good night, Nessie. Thanks for stopping in. It's wonderful to see you.
Yeah.
News update. In other news, Nessie leaves for the night. Thank you.
Okay.
That was my news brief, Don. I did my own news brief.
Sweet.
Wasn't that? There was nothing. Nothing.
Teddy Whitey's? I don't know.
Okay. Never mind. Never mind. All right, crickets. I thought it was funny, but anyway.
Oh, wow.
I thought, but that's what I get for thinking. So we got a bunch more paranormal fun lined up for you guys tonight. And remember, the phone lines are open, folks. So if you want to call in and be a part of the journey tonight, by all means, feel free.
Right.
Any manner of paranormal incident that you might have experienced, feel free to call in. 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. That's the numbers for fun here on the portal. And we'll be doing our best to keep an eye on that throughout the night. So if you want to call in and be a part of it, we'd love to talk to you. It's Thanksgiving, folks.
Yeah,
it's time for coming together.
Yeah.
Right, Don?
It is.
It is.
Let's do this thing together.
Because Don said so, huh?
Yeah. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Quit busting my chops. All right. So I guess we should get into all that other stuff, right?
Certainly.
Certainly.
Slightly.
All right. So we're going to start with an article from Ranker.com. Because we like our articles. And Ranker.com does a lot of good ones. They do.
You aggregate some really nice stuff.
They do.
Sometimes it's like just a sentence or two because, lazy. But
because they're lazy. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's all fun and games
until someone gets an eye poked out.
That's true. We will not be poking out any eyes tonight, though.
There will be no eye poking.
We should be in good shape. So let's get to the article in question, ladies and gentlemen. From Ranker.com is a list that was put together by Amanda Ashley. And this is from July 12th of this year. So it should be good. And this list is people describe the times they may have encountered someone otherworldly. Yes, someone otherworldly. So it sounds like ghostly stuff.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. Cherry's snap is cherry_bomb44.
Oh, snaps.
And now it's been immortalized on the shows.
Oh, that's Cherie.
Yeah.
That's
Sherry. Yeah.
Yeah. Muggs' girl.
Yeah.
Daughter.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that. Sorry.
All right. So, yeah, I'm going to have to get one of those. I don't have one currently that I know of. I don't think.
Let's
You
see.
do that all through your phone, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Search. C-H-I-E.
I'll have to add that one later too, huh? When I get one.
Yep.
I feel all left out now. I've never had a Snapchat.
Well,
I
you
don't
ain't
know.
that cool yet.
I'm really not
Oh, there
that
it
cool.
is.
That's the problem. Is that I really am not. I am a very incredibly boring person. I really am. It's like I can just hide in a hole for that didn't sound right. I can just I can just sit here at the computer for weeks and just
There you
with
are.
my head in the sand
Add.
here
There
doing
we
my
go.
thing and not even be bothered. But I'm kind of a hermit, you know. All right, so here's the article in question. People describe the times they may have had encounters with someone otherworldly. And again, from Amanda Ashley, this is from ranker.com. And let's check it out. It says they kept seeing the same woman, but she wasn't getting older.
Oh.
Ooh. So this is from My Fingers, a Redditor user. It says, so in October of 1998, I rolled my dad's 1987 Ford Ranger along a lonely dirt road in Arvada, Colorado. I rolled the truck because I lost control of it. Yeah, generally that's what happens.
That's what happens.
Yeah, you don't actually try to roll them, but I lost control of it because I was speeding on a dirt road and swerved to avoid an obstacle. What was it? That's really vague. Isn't that vague? A little overly vague, like I dropped my beer and I was trying to pick it up and I rolled the truck, or is it something else, another car that they didn't see or something. But anyway, it says that obstacle was a woman. I guess it isn't as vague as I thought. Keep reading, Brent. You might find out more. I remember the accident clearly, including the actual rolling, the following moments, and flagging down some help. However, from my point of view, I was only stuck on the road for an hour before help arrived. The truth is, I had been out there for 3 hours. So there was a 2-hour gap in my memory. About a year and a half after this, I got the memory back. It was triggered in my doctor's office while I was being treated for Meniere's disease. I don't know. Does that have something to do with memory? Probably.
Meniere's disease?
Must be. Meniere's disease. At this appointment, a cocktail of steroids was injected into my ear canal's labyrinth. Oh, God. That sounds miserable. Via a syringe through my eardrum.
Oh.
Yeesh. It was painful.
I bet.
Anyway, after the doctor injected me, he left the room, and a nurse came back to look in after me, and I swear to you, it was the woman I had swerved to miss.
Wow.
Seeing her must have triggered something because those missing 2 hours from my car accident came flooding back to me. So did her name. Victoria, not Vicky. Though she hates that name, something I clearly remember her telling me more than once during our conversation next to my dad's wrecked truck. I asked her about it and call her Vicky, but she doesn't answer me. Instead, she shoots me a dirty look, does a couple of checks, and walks out. About 10 minutes later, the doctor comes back, and I asked him what her name was, of the nurse who had just been in the room. He looked confused, so I went on to describe her, and he said, I must be mistaken. All the nurses were busy at the time, and none of them fit the description I had given. When I asked, what about Victoria, he tells me there is no one there named that. 12 years go by, and in September of 2012, I see this woman again. This time she's working at a PetSmart. It's Labor Day weekend, and they're having an adoption event. I was in there to pick up supplies for an adult dog I had picked out at the Denver Dumb Friends League. What does that mean? Denver Dumb Friends League. Okay. She approaches me and steers me towards the litter of puppies that they are trying to adopt out, and she talks me into at least holding the female puppy, and that was kind of off to the side doing her own thing. After a few minutes of that, she tells me, "This is your dog," and then she asks me if I want to spend some time alone with the dog. I agree, and she leads me back to the PetSmart employees' break room. As I'm about to go in, I take a peek at her name tag, and it read Victoria. Right before she closed the door to leave me alone with the dog, I said, "Thanks, Vicky." She responded with, "It's Victoria. You know I hate Vicky." And then she shut the door.
You know I hate Vicky.
I let out, "I effing knew it," and then fumbled with the door and puppy in hand to confront her. But when I opened the door, she was gone. I took that as a sign and adopted the dog. After that, there was an 8-year break before she popped up again. This time at my vet's office right before lockdown last year. She released my dog to me after surgery to remove a tumor, and wouldn't you know it, she still looked like she was only 25 years old. Since it was a bit later and there was no one else around, I decided to trust my memory, and instead of testing her by calling her Vicky, I straight up asked her why she kept popping up in my life and how she still looked as young as she did in 1998. Without missing a beat, she takes a deep breath, turns to me, looks me directly in the eyes and says, "Because I owe you." Then she motioned for me to lean down with her finger. When I leaned down, she kissed me on the cheek and said, "Thank you for what you did that night. I'll see you again soon."
Oh,
For the life of me, I don't know what I did for her, even though the memory of that night is fairly clear to me. There has to be something I'm missing, or I'm just going crazy. Either way, it's been weird.
so I'm sorry. What exactly happened? He swerved to miss her?
I guess
She was in the road. She was walking along
I
swerved to miss her and had a car accident?
apparently, but it doesn't sound like she's actually alive, quote unquote alive. It sounds like she's appearing to him.
Right.
But I don't know.
Well, here's what I'm thinking is that maybe she was alive, but he swerved to miss her.
But
or
maybe
this
he
person,
didn't.
But no, he swerved to miss her.
Okay.
Instead of hitting her like I would do a deer, because like deer like to run into me. It's amazing. Yeah, they kamikaze right into my car. It's amazing. I never hit a deer. I've never hit a deer. Anyhow, so swerved to miss, and instead of hitting her, decided to take the accident and himself. So left her alive. But maybe something happened because of it that she ended up like falling down and banging her head and passing away.
Maybe. I
like,
mean, yeah, it's anybody's guess, but that's a cool story.
Weirder Rich says, get her phone number.
Wow. She'll never look older. Come on.
She's Indrid Cole's cousin.
She's Indrid Cole's cousin. That's great. I think it's kind of cool because it almost sounds like a guardian angel kind of thing.
Right.
Like this is someone that's looking out for him, and what he did for her, I don't know. That's very strange. I really wish this person had the answer, but it's just nebulous and out there, and all we can do is just guess. But I really hope that story's true, because I like the aspect of it that someone is definitely watching over this guy. I think that's a beautiful thing,
Right. Yeah.
I love those kind of ideas. If I have guardian angels, and I believe I do, I wish they'd make themselves known to me regularly, like stopping in. Hey, how you doing?
Or hey, don't do that. Yeah. That's kind of.
Will you knock this off? Yeah. You realize all that I have to go through. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you know how often I'm like this?
Can we just keep this picked up for a while? Huh? Yeah, I'd be like.
Can they just stay safe for 5 minutes?
Yeah, you'd think. But I think it's a beautiful story. So let's go to the next one. This is number 2. A guardian angel mechanic came out of nowhere to help them. Ooh, this sounds kind of similar to one that I've paraphrased before on the show. Let's see what it says. From Redditor, always wants ice cream.
Nice.
Who doesn't?
Not me.
Oh, you don't? You don't like
I
ice
don't
cream?
always want ice cream. I have to have ice cream.
Okay. Grew up poor, which meant we had a crappy car and couldn't afford a better one, or to get it fixed right. I had an issue with alignment that left us with a worn tire constantly. One day, of course, something in the road hit it just right, and it sprung a leak, just as my mom was picking us up from school. We drive to the gas station, just barely up the road from the school. My mom sends me in for a can of Fix-A-Flat. Oh, man, if it's worn thin, you're not going to fix a flat with that.
Not gonna fix that.
I go in. I'm the only one in the store. How the store was laid out, you can see the whole thing from the only door in the place. No public restroom, only one clerk behind the counter, bells on the door, and I was the only person in there, I swear. I'm getting the Fix-A-Flat when suddenly I hear this guy say, Got a flat tire?
No.
No, I just love this stuff.
It tastes really good.
I look up and there's a guy in front of me in a mechanic's uniform. There's no way he could have come in without me hearing and seeing him. Well, being socially nervous, an awkward teenager, and thoroughly freaked out, I just nod. He tells me to have my mom pull around back to the air pump and he'll meet us there with his truck. I never mentioned my mom, by the way, but I didn't realize that until after the fact. I do as he instructed.
Dummy.
Lo and behold, the guy is a tire man with a truck full of just the supplies we needed.
Huh.
He patches up our tire for us, pays for the air to fill it. Who charges for air? Jesus.
Yeah, state of Idaho says that if you offer it, it has to be offered free because it's a service of the
cool.
gas station itself.
All right. I've never seen pay air pumps, even in Minnesota, but I haven't lived that many places. So, then refuses my mom's attempts to pay him, gets back in his truck, and takes off in the same direction we needed to go in order to get home. My mom hurries after him to try to catch his truck number so she can tell his boss what a great person he was, but we come around the curve in the road. There's nothing there. He's vanished. There's no turnoffs, no side roads, just a long straight stretch of road that there's no way he could have traversed in this time since we last saw him. We were right behind him. He goes around the curve, and then he's just gone. Later that night, we looked up the name of the company that had been on his truck, and it didn't exist. We knew the town that was listed on the truck under the company's name, too, so next time we were there, we asked around about it, but nobody had ever heard of the place. For small southern towns, that's insane. I have no idea what this guy was, but we never had another issue with that tire again. I mean, ever. It somehow outlasted the other three, benevolent, supernatural car man, whoever and wherever you are, thank you.
Nice.
That's a cool story. Yeah. Number 3, their grandfather came to give them one last goodbye. This is from Firefighter 6436. Back in 1997, I was age 8. I shared a room with my younger brother, who was 4 at the time. We used to have our grandparents over for dinner most nights, and it wasn't uncommon for them to stay long after we'd gone to bed. They would come and kiss us goodbye in bed when they were going to leave. This one summer day, I woke up during the night and saw my granddad, and like I said, it wasn't unusual. I said, "Hi, Granddad, are you leaving now?" He came and sat on my bed and said, "Yeah, I'm saying goodbye for now." He kissed me, and then we went and sat on my brother's bed and kissed him as well. Then he left. My childhood intuition picked up that he was a bit sad. The next morning, I went into the kitchen to find my mom crying. She told me that Granddad passed last night of a sudden heart attack, and I said, "How can that be? I saw him last night. He came and said good night to me." My mom said that my grandparents left shortly after I went to bed last night. I also remember that my grandpa said goodbye and not good night. It was quite a shock, but at the same time, a little comforting too. I don't remember a lot from my childhood, but this is a memory that I won't forget. That's a good memory to hang on to. Yeah, that's awesome. Number 4, Don.
Number 4.
An intelligent ghost child may have haunted the building for decades. This is by the cheekiest bear. It's a bear.
It's a bear.
I used to work in a small art gallery. The building that housed the gallery is old, and it was many things over the years before it was a gallery. It's also very quiet. Having a dozen people during the day would have been considered busy, so you can very clearly hear when someone else is in the building. The front doors are heavy and metal, and every inch of the wood floor squeaks. You're aware the second somebody enters. It's not like they can sneak by you. The only other door requires a security code, so it's not accessible to the public. There's usually only a single staff member working at any given time, and the reception desk where the staff works has a view of the entire first floor as well as both doors. So I'm working an evening sitting at the desk, and movement in the gallery catches my eye. It's a little boy, maybe 5 or 6 years old, just staring at the artwork. It wasn't any one piece in particular. He would look, move, and move on to the next, but very intently. He'd spend a few minutes with each piece. I was startled. I hadn't heard or seen this kid come in, and he definitely didn't have an adult with him, so I went up to him and asked where his parents were. He ignored that question and instead asked me all about the artwork. We probably spent a good 20 minutes chatting, and this kid, for being so young, was incredibly intelligent. It felt more like in a conversation with an adult. I had a weird feeling of looking at this kid, though. It was just something that wasn't quite right about him. His color was just a little off, that sort of grayish skin tone that terminally ill people have. That's probably the closest I can come to describing him. His movements were also just a little strange, kind of jerky. It was unsettling, but not quite scary, just off. The phone rings at the desk, and I excuse myself to go answer it, and I'm gone maybe 2 minutes. My back is now to the gallery, but I'm looking at the door. I turn around when I'm done. It's getting close to closing time, and I've got to figure out where this kid's parents are. And the gallery is empty. The kid just vanished. I never saw him again. But a few months later, there's this old man in the gallery, the kind who would spend the whole day telling you stories. And he's talking about when he worked in the building roughly 50 to 60 years ago. And when it was a post office and not a gallery. We're looking at the painting of a little boy on display, and it reminds me a lot of the boy I'd seen. I didn't say that out loud. The old man chuckles and said it reminds him of John, a little boy who would randomly appear and watch them sort the mail. The conversations he had with that boy blew his mind. That kid could talk about anything. Shortly after he retired, and before it was a gallery, the building was turned into a public library. I met the woman who used to run it a few years later, and I told her the story of this little boy, curious if she'd ever seen him. She nodded and said it sounds exactly like John, a little boy who they'd find between the shelves staring at the rows of books.
Huh.
You could talk to him about anything. He had an amazing range of knowledge. So the little boy never aged in all of those years. It's the only time in my life I think I've seen a ghost. I haven't been back to that building in a long time, but I still wonder if he's there, watching and learning. Wow. That's interesting because I've thought about that as well. It's like, so if a spirit is earthbound, does it continue to mature? Would it continue to develop mentally, or would it be kind of stuck in that state? But this story would suggest that even though he was stuck there for whatever reason, he was continuing to learn and grow, in at least intellectually. So,
well, that's an interesting question because okay, for example, the movie Interview with the Vampire, or the book rather, they had what was Kirsten Dunst's character's name?
I don't
Claudia,
know.
Claudia.
Oh, okay.
Her name was Claudia, and Louis made her into a vampire when she was like 12, 14-ish, and she lived for hundreds of years, a couple 100 or 2 years, and she matured. But then again, it's maturing, is one of those mental things, not a it's not a physical thing at that point. I mean, because she's not going to mature past that age.
Right.
So, I mean, anything that stays and is connected to this world in some way, I think they might.
That's very interesting. Because here's the thing, we equate our biology with our age, right? So like the body grows, it changes, it matures. Children turn into young adults, turn into men or women or whatever, and we kind of assume that maybe that growth is somehow tied to the biology as well. Right. In other words, a brain, having a physical brain. So the interesting thing is that in this case, if this is really a true story, then perhaps it's our personal development is not really tied to our biological development. That they're two separate things, and therefore consciousness isn't necessarily tied to a physical mechanism like the human brain. And I think that's really interesting and intriguing. And Rachel gets it right, says maybe it depends on both spiritual and emotional development of the ghost.
Right, but it has nothing. But it still has nothing to do with the physical body, and the maturing of the body itself. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Are we born with the same brain that we had when we were kids? No, because our brain grows into our head. Right. So it's determinate aged. Yeah. So when your head stops growing, generally, there are cases where people's brains don't, then it causes manic and all kinds of things. But for the most part, your brain stops growing when you become. But does that mean you have more mental facility, or what does that mean exactly in this case? Yeah, I don't know. Would it apply? Who knows? Well, Jennifer Gibson in the chat says, "What if it's an intelligent being appearing as a child,
who would fear a child? Exactly. We've talked about
yes.
that. We've talked about that many, many times on the show. That it doesn't sound like a predation kind of entity. Like it's not preying on people and using that childhood visage to lower people's lower their guard or open them up. But yeah, that's something I believe as well, is that
Georgie.
some dark things appear like children because everybody wants to help a child. I mean, you don't want a child to suffer and to be alone and scared. And so any normally emotionally developed person is going to see a child and go, I got to help it. Let me help you. I'll take care of you.
Goodness.
And therefore letting their guard down. And if it is something indeed dark and sinister, it's going to use that to attach and more. Rachel says, or the person before they died. Yeah.
Cold Stare says, that's a good thought, Jennifer. Same idea worked for the Black-Eyed Children.
Right. Yep.
So.
Very true. See, you guys are on it. That's why I love when you guys are a part of the conversations. Yep. That really enhances what we do here on the shows. So by all means, keep those comments coming. We love it. All right, let's get to the next one here in our list of fun. This is a strange man made the other customers in line disappear.
Wow.
Wow, that's my kind of guy. I like him to show up every time I'm at the store.
Yeah, just make sure it's everybody in front of me, not including me.
Yeah, you might be the disappeared one.
No, that's okay.
But you come back after he's done.
Oh, yeah.
It says, this is by Tingley, Texas Girl, TX Girl. I was the only one working at a register. It was later in the night. I had a line full of people and one supervisor close by doing her thing. Sorry. I looked up and saw this guy about 2 or 3 people behind my current customer, and he gave me an instant feeling of unease. I saw this black fog type of aura around him. I'd never seen auras or any type prior to this or after. But I kept watch on him out of the corner of my eye and could feel him just watching me. When I looked up again to take care of customer number 2, it was the weird guy instead. Even stranger, no one else was in the line anymore, and I could no longer find my supervisor. The store was quiet. All I remember about this guy is that he had longish brown hair, average height and looks, and the strangest blue eyes I've ever seen. I looked at him and asked what I could do for him, and before the words even completely left my mouth, he stated he needed a specific brand of cigarettes. The whole time he had this knowing grin on his face. When I turned away from him to get his cigarettes, everything went black. I couldn't see anything for what felt like several minutes, but I'm sure it was only a few seconds at best, and all I could think was, oh God, this man is in my head completely, messing with my mind. When I finally turned back to him, he just laughed, this weird laugh, like he knew what I was thinking. He looked at me again and just walked away, and as soon as he was gone, everything went back to normal. My supervisor was back, a full line of customers again, all of it. I felt off for several days after this encounter, and had nightmares about the guy's eyes following me and telling me he was always watching. Several strange things happened in my life beginning after my shift was over and I got home. Things quit happening when I stopped having nightmares about a week later.
Wow.
Wow is right.
I wonder what things happened.
I don't know. They're just suggestions. They don't go into any details, but
well, and then, let's go back to vampires for a second here. There are reports that vampires can what is it called? Bewitch, mesmerize you in the idea of like this tunnel vision. They're the only ones there. Everything else disappears, and of course they're going to ask for a specific type of cigarette because like that's how you buy cigarettes. Mm-hmm. But just this whole phantasmal connection that they have. They can mesmerize you and bring you into them. Sure. Said the spider to the fly. So maybe that's what happened.
Maybe could be a person that has some kind of dark pact and was given certain abilities as a result.
You got dark there.
Yeah, I'm saying she saw like a dark aura around him.
Yeah.
And so there was obviously more to this man than just being a normal human. He's obviously had some either supernatural ability or presence, or he was just not of this world at all. Yeah. Maybe he's an alien, like those cigarettes.
Right.
Could be. I don't know.
Like
Weird.
Rasputin.
I wonder what the strange blue eyes means, though. That's the weird part. Is what does that really mean?
Well, let's go back to vampires.
Yeah. You've been mesmerized.
Sometimes I wish I was.
Ooh. Well, the whole drinking blood would suck, but
that you would have to suck to drink blood, but whatever.
all right. Well, here we go. Let's go on to the next one.
Screwing a turkey. And
I've heard you're good at sucking.
How come he gets the rim shots and I don't?
Oh, I got the buttons. I
Yeah,
mean,
he's got the
you're welcome to the buttons too. They're right.
Yeah, you've banned me from the button several times.
It resets every show. You get another shot.
Does it?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, there's my shot.
They felt like they had shaken the hand of the devil. Ooh, speaking of dark. Kind of reminds me of the next podcast coming up, right? The Demons Among Us.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Well,
I will get to it.
I interviewed M.R. Gorga, who's Gorga. He's an author out of the East Coast, and he wrote a book, The Demons Among Us, and it was a pretty interesting discussion we had. He's had some weird experiences, that man. So I'll leave it there, and you can check it out. But you can also check out his book; it's available online. But they felt like they had shaken the hand of the devil. So this is weird. This is by Electric Pink Mango. I still get shivers when I think of it. He was a customer I was helping out. And honestly, there was nothing that really stood out with him. He was handsome, but in a normal way. He dressed normal, talked normal, was blandly friendly, as you are with strangers, just a normal upper middle class type of guy. The only thing that really stood out, here it is again, was his blue eyes.
Really?
Yeah, another one.
Wow.
Not in a goofy supernatural type of way. He just had very, very blue eyes. But for some reason, he made every hair on my neck stand on end.
Yeah.
Alarm bells were going off in my head like crazy, and all I wanted to do was just hide. I've never felt this way before or since. Even when I was followed home by someone, I have never had such a gut-deep, you are in danger, as I did with this guy. After ringing him through, he reached out to shake my hand. This is not common at all here, but out of politeness, I took it and shook. And I instantly got nauseous, almost gagged. The moment I got nauseous, he just held my hand and smiled. And something in that smile made me absolutely sure he knew what I was feeling and enjoyed it. I'm not religious in any way, but I remember thinking at that moment, oh God, is this the devil? After he left, I was still so sick feeling that I had to go to the back and sit down. I'm not sure if he was a serial killer or what, but to this day, I've never experienced something even close to that encounter. I absolutely felt bone-deep certainty that I was in some sort of danger. I felt every bit the prey. It's a hard story to explain because it's all based on feelings, so I haven't told that many people about it, but to this day, it's absolutely one of the scariest and weirdest things I have ever experienced. Mm-hmm. Yikes. There you go. Number 7, an encounter with a stranger in a coffee shop saved their life.
Wow.
These are the good ones. I like these. This is by Redditor Not Lucky One. I guess they were lucky if they had someone save their life. There was a young woman about my age at that time, early 20s, sitting alone at a nearly empty coffee shop. She seemed like she was trying not to cry, so I went over and asked if I could sit with her. Well, we talked for hours about everything and nothing at the same time. She didn't go into detail about what was going on with her, but she felt like there was no hope. I did my best to encourage her and told her not to give up. Tried to give her reasons to hold on, thought of ideas that might give her a spark of hope. The coffee shop was closing. I wrote my phone number down and told her that I would love to hang out with her again, and she could call me any time. She looked at me and told me that everything I said to her wasn't for her to hear. It was for me. I hadn't told her that I was in fact suicidal. I originally gone to the coffee shop to think about how to best take care of myself, take myself out. While talking to her, I figured if I could maybe help someone else not to feel the way I do, I wouldn't do myself in, at least not yet. She not only saved my life that day, but gave me a whole new life, my whole life a new purpose, filled with hope. I'm a therapist now. I help people all day. She hugged me and then walked out the door. I ran after her because she forgot the napkin with my number on it. I was no more than 2 seconds behind her. I got outside, and there was no one there. Ooh, that'll give you chills, huh? Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool story, though. So that very well could be that divine intervention for this person. They appeared sad because it was maybe a guardian angel knowing what this person was thinking.
Kind of like reverse psychology for that kind of thing. So
Yeah. What a powerful lesson. Wow. Beautiful story. There's something to give thanks for on this Thanksgiving Eve. Is that what tonight is, Don? Is it Thanksgiving Eve?
Thanksgiving Eve, yeah.
And Hump Day.
Hump Day. It's always Hump Day on Thanksgiving Eve, though.
Yeah, it is. That's very true. All right.
Basic observation.
I know, but it's actually kind of clever too. So I gave you the rim shot anyway. All right. Number 8, the malevolent party crashers seem to be in 2 places at the same time. Must be Thursdays. Who wrote this one? A little over 20 years ago, my friends and I went to a 4th of July party at the house of a guy they went to high school with. It started out pretty chill, but as the night went on, it ended up being the kind of party I didn't actually think existed outside of an 80s teen movie. Wow. Huge house, Richie Rich neighborhood, no regard for property damage. Picture the party at the end of Weird Science, but subtract the mutant bikers, and add a couple hundred kids in their teens and early 20s, half of whom were on acid, and many of whom showed up with literal carloads of fireworks. At some point, these 2 guys showed up. Nobody knew who they were. They spoke to no one, not even each other. They didn't eat anything. They didn't drink anything. They didn't try to interact with anyone at all that I saw. And what they did do was freak everyone out visually. They were exactly average height, average looks, average build, ambiguous age, ambiguous ethnicity, 100% forgettable, except they absolutely radiated darkness and hostility.
Wow.
They would just stand on opposite sides of a room and glare angrily at each other for a while, and then walk into a different room and glare angrily at each other again. They seemed to communicate with each other like that. Creepy as hell. And it was like there was some kind of evil force inside of them that was barely contained by their skin. If they walked into a room where you were, it felt like the air itself suddenly became oppressive.
Wow.
At some point, my friends and I dipped out to go check on another party up in the mountains, and a couple of people we knew took off to a different party in a town in the opposite direction of where we were going, and about 30 miles away from the original party. About halfway to our destination, we stopped at a gas station to get smokes and drinks, and when we walked out, those guys were there. They were standing outside of their car, perfectly still, just staring holes through us. I don't know if I've ever felt that creeped out. We all piled into our car in record time and peeled out of the parking lot. Thankfully, it didn't look like they tried to follow us, and we never saw them again. A few hours later, we went back to the first party to find a girl we knew sitting on the floor, holding a baseball bat, jumpy as hell, ready to swing at anything that looked threatening. Apparently, those guys got way creepier after we left. Nobody would go into any details, though, so I never found out exactly what happened. But everyone who had stayed at the first party looked thoroughly shocked. The next day, we ran into one of the people who took off to the other party. And right about the same time we had our gas station encounter with the spooky twins, they had the exact same encounter with the same guys at a gas station, probably 50 miles away from where we were. Meanwhile, the people who stayed at the first party swear those guys didn't leave the party until hours after we saw them at the gas station. Wow. It was all intensely freaky. I don't know who those guys were or what they wanted, but I have genuine doubts as to whether they were really human. Yeesh. Not a lot of fun at parties, folks. All right.
Buzzkill.
Yeah, they're buzz assassins. It sounds like they could suck the fun out of any room. Number 9, after holding hands with the woman, their knee pain disappeared.
Oh.
This is by Sunny1028. I used to work at a Ben & Jerry's a few years ago. Had an opening shift, and usually things are slow up until around 3 when the nearby high school rings the last bell for the day.
Of course.
This was maybe an hour into my shift, and I'd already cleaned out one dip case and had a fresh batch of waffle cones, and I was getting things done, but with a really bad limp. Quick backstory. Growing up, I was pretty athletic. T-ball, volleyball, softball, martial arts, dance. So being an athlete plus breaking 9 bones, getting 3 concussions, and dislocating my knee 3 times, yeah, I know, obviously, took a toll on my body. I'm 26 but have the bones and joints of a 60-year-old. Anyway, that particular day since I'd woken up, my knee was really bothering me. I even took my knee brace to work, being the only one on shift, and having to walk back and forth so much, honestly, it wasn't helping. Then a group of maybe 4 people walked near the entrance of the shop, and they looked maybe mid-20s or 30s. It was 2 guys and 2 girls. Just the girls walked into the shop, and I don't remember the order anymore, but when I handed the scoop of ice cream to the second friend I was ringing up, I told her to have a nice day and turned to walk back to my task. I tried to hide my limp the whole time, but just because I didn't want to be hopping around while ringing them up. Then she called me over and said it seemed like I was in pain. I downplayed it and said there was nothing, but it was like she knew how much pain I was in. She had a very heavy accent. I couldn't make out from where, but I understood that she and her friends liked to travel. She then asked if it was okay to hold my hand and say a prayer. I thought it was a bit strange, but she just made me feel so comfortable with her. I couldn't say no. She held my hand, and in mid-prayer, I swear, I felt the pain literally lift off of my knee. It was amazing. I asked her name, and she gave it to me, but now for the life of me, I cannot remember it. I think it started with an M, but I don't know. It was like in 2015 or 2017, but since that day, my knee has never bothered me again. I'll never forget her. Very cool.
You know, I had this experience when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably, I don't know, freshman.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe a sophomore.
Okay.
Anyhow, and this is part of the reason I don't like I have problems with people who speak in tongues. We went to this concert. It was a Christian concert. I went with the local, one of the local youth organizations, and it was Carmen was the artist. I can't remember anything more other than being in the after this concert being taken into the back with my buddy, and they said, "Oh yeah, come back and blah blah blah, and we'll pray and we'll do this, that, and the other." And then so and I went back because me and him had some kind of similar knee pain. I've always had knee pain because I've fallen out of trees playing baseball, that kind of thing. And
you fell out of trees play baseball?
I thought, well, yeah, well.
You're not doing it right.
Well, when you get hit with a bat a few times, you figure it's the wood that's actually killing you.
Sure.
But falling out of trees, playing baseball, that kind of thing. So, so anyhow, they took us back there, me and my buddy, and we were there, and they were praying over us, and all of a sudden they started speaking in tongues, and I'm like, you know what? I don't care how much my knee hurts. I'm out of here. And we both got up and walked out. It was like creepy. That was creepy. Yeah, it totally turned me off of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a different thing, isn't it?
Oh God, yes.
I've experienced that as well. Not me speaking, but I've heard people break into it.
Right. Well, and my mom took me to a church. I was like 25, 26, and she's like, "Well, you got to come to church with me." So I go to her church, and there's this. I swear, the guy is he reminds me of. I don't know. The guy was just charismatic. It was a charismatic church.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, he just starts breaking out in tongues, just jabbering this stuff, and then all of a sudden, everybody around me got the Holy Spirit and started doing it too. I said, "See ya!" I was out. Screw that.
That's it, huh?
Done.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It is a weird thing.
But if something like that happened to me, nope. It said she's said a prayer, and I don't know.
But if you felt the knee pain go away, wouldn't it be like, oh, hey, cool? But I think that stuff is powerful. I think spontaneous healing is a real thing.
Well,
and whether you believe it's a modality of body energy and such like polarity,
right?
Polarity therapy. That's one thing. It's basically the laying out of hands.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this. She went about this in a different way. She didn't she just said, "Can I hold your hand for a sec?" and said a prayer, and then blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah.
Well, it says I thought it was a bit strange, but she just made me feel comfortable with her.
Right.
So that's okay. I mean, just a quick, blah, whatever. I don't know what you would say.
Sure.
But,
yeah.
And if my knee pain went away, it'd have an effect, but,
Well, at least it didn't sound like she went into tongues, did it? It didn't say that,
No,
right?
it didn't.
Yeah, it's just a prayer and a bit strange, comfortable. I felt the pain literally left off my knee. So that's a cool one.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, spontaneous healing is real. Number 10, the man on the trail could have been the trickster in human disguise.
The trickster.
Yeah.
Please explain.
This is going to be the last one we're going to read from this article. I love these stories, though. These are great. But I do want to get to some other stuff here before the show's over. This is by Wester Fluff. Okay. Years ago, I used to work at a nature facility that was around 500 acres with a few miles of walking trails. One day, I had a lady come into the office, and tell me there was a dead armadillo in the middle of one of the trails. I went to clean it up, and it had a single bite to its underbelly. The next day I was walking the trails, I came across another armadillo, the same thing, a single bite to the underbelly. Well, this went on for 14 days. Every day I had to remove an armadillo. Number 13 was on a trail for the backside of the park. While I was cleaning up the armadillo, an old man looking to be in his late 70s, with sun-weathered skin, walked up on me, wearing a Western-style shirt. He said, "He's just messing with you." I said, "Hey, bud, what are you talking about?" He said, "The trickster." I said, "Do what now?" He said, "The coyote. He's just messing with you. He thinks it's funny how mad you get." I said, "Well, I wish he'd stop." The old man just chuckled and started walking off. I told him, "Have a good day, bud." He waved while he was walking off and said, "You too," as he turned the bend in the trail. I tossed the armadillo into the brush. It was less than 10 seconds after the old man. And I turned the bend, and he was gone. I looked all over for him. I walked the trails for hours, asking everyone if they had seen him, and no one had. The next day, when I got to work, I went into the office to check my emails. I opened the window blinds, and there was an armadillo with one bite in its underbelly laying under my window. That was the last one, number 14. I sat there thinking about the old man's shirt and geometric coyotes in the desert. I'm pretty sure the old man was the trickster. Yeah, it could be a manifestation. That's some cool stories, though, right there.
What was about the shirt?
Well, I was wearing it had a coyote.
Oh, did it?
Yeah,
Okay.
a coyote pattern on it.
Right.
Yep. So the old trickster. Yeah, there's these medicine cards that people use. They're kind of like a tarot, but they use the symbology of the First Nations. And my oldest brother's he's a practical joker, and he no matter what, he's always playing gags. It's just his thing. Mm-hmm. he's absolutely ruthless with it. Like he'll just keep going and going and going until it's dead. I mean, it's just there's no life left in it, and he'll be chuckling and stuff. Well, he had a medicine card reading, and wouldn't you imagine his core card was the coyote.
Really?
Yep. That was his core card, and
Wow.
it just fits. It's like, yeah, he's the trickster, all right. So, very cool. But it made sense. All right, let's continue on our journey here, folks. There's a couple articles I want to make sure to get here too. Let's see, this is Cheshire. I want to make sure I get to the right one. Okay. Here's an article from Animalian. Then we're going to read one from Brent Swanser, Mysterious Universe. And then, we're going to maybe talk about this one, but I might save that until Friday.
Okay.
Let's see how we do for time here. So this is an article, ladies and gentlemen, from animalian.com. It's a great site. I would encourage you to check it out. They've got a bunch of great articles, and apparently it's a podcast as well, so you can definitely look for that and check it out. But they have an article here from their website, animalian.com, and it's written by their staff. It's written by animalian.com from February 18th, 2021. And it is, in California, a police officer saw the body of a huge Bigfoot near the highway. And usually these are very brief. Their articles are very brief as well. And it says, on the evening of January 23rd, 2021, California police officer Rick Bates was driving down an empty highway, returning home when he saw a very massive humanoid figure lying face down on the side of the road, covered from head to toe with brown hair. The site of the American Bigfoot field, the site of the BFRO, recently posted a new Yeti sighting report that was sent to them by a police officer named Rick Bates. And this is the report, of course. On the evening of January 23rd, 2021, Bates was driving his car home to Garberville, California on Highway 101, returning from a mission from Brookings, Oregon. I was driving back home from Brookings, Oregon on January 23rd, 2021, and I was southbound on Highway 101, south of Garberville, California, and south of Ben Bo Inn. The road makes a few turns and the speed limit drops in the area. As I rounded a sweeping right-hand turn, I saw a figure on the southbound shoulder of the highway. I was the only vehicle in the area at about 8:15 p.m. My speed was about 45 to 50 miles per hour as I passed the figure. The figure was laying on the shoulder of the road on its right side. I estimated the height to be about 7 feet. I was looking at the creature's back and noticed it had broad shoulders and was a thick torso shape. While the shape similar to a human, it was not a human. It was not a bear either. I could see muscular features in its glutes and head on the shoulders that was somewhat tapered toward the top and being held off the ground. Its hair was chocolate brown and very coarse. The hair was not fur-like of a bear at all. I turned around a distance past the spot and returned to where I'd seen it. No other vehicles had gone north or south from the time I saw the creature to the time I returned to its location, 2 minutes estimated time. When I got to the spot where I'd seen it, the creature was gone. As an avid hunter and fisherman, I spent a lot of time in the woods. I spent every summer camping in that area as well as a kid. I've never seen anything like what I just saw this evening. Singular 40 and researchers have discovered that a police officer named Rick Bates is indeed a real person who serves the headquarters of Rohnert Park, California. Researcher Matthew Moneymaker was later able to contact Bates and talk about the case. He said that Bates is only 20 years old, but he is described as a very observant and responsible person. He drove this highway many times and no doubt saw the large animal lying next to the highway in the dark, illuminated by the headlights of his car. The question is, what kind of animal could it be? He hunted bear, elk, deer, etc., and he says that this creature had a manifest human body form but covered in hair. His body was lying perpendicular to the highway. His feet were within 1 foot of the white line on the side of the highway, as if he had just been hit by a car earlier, Moneymaker said.
That's weird.
Not really, though, when you consider, okay, the old saying is, if you see one, there's more nearby.
Right.
Like they aren't solitary creatures. They're usually with family groups.
They hunt in packs.
Right, or packs, sure.
They move in family groups.
So let's say it was hit by a car and did land there, and then this guy comes along. Well, perhaps by the time this guy passed by, the rest of them grabbed it and took it away.
Or it wasn't fully dead. It
That's
was
true
just
too.
Stunned and on the side of the road.
Yeah, it could have been just laying there going, "Oh, that hurt, God."
But if somebody if you hit a deer,
Sure.
You're gonna stop and you're gonna, unless you're like drunk and don't even realize it.
Sure.
But you're gonna stop and check out, up here we're like, is the deer dead? And then the question is there damage to the car?
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's the way I think. So anyhow, you would stop. So
You'd think, yeah.
Where is the thing that
hit it?
Yeah, that hit it, or what happened to it? Did another Sasquatch come up behind it and bang in the head with the stick?
Or did it just get stuck and it just said, "Oh, someone's coming, lay down flat." Like
right?
That's,
yeah,
like that's the best defense.
Oh, you mean like stuck as in like get caught?
yeah. Like oh, shoot.
Look like a bear. Look like a bear. Look like a bear.
I am a puddle of mud. You don't see me. It's a bear. But it could be that as well. That's a good point, because if somebody did hit it, you'd pull over for those very reasons that you cited. It's
right.
like whenever you hit something, especially that size, on any modern vehicle, it's going to fold up like tinfoil.
Right.
Even big pickup trucks would still fold up like tinfoil, because everything we drive is basically like a aluminum can with wheels.
Right. Digger Dog, they can take and stomp through Ukiah, California all they want. I won't stop them.
What?
Or Digger says they're on 101 anywhere in north of Ukiah, California.
Mm-hmm.
They're all around. So,
but
Ukiah, California holds a special kind of hate with me.
Cold Stairs, maybe he just crossed an electric fence. Yeah.
Ah.
Well, I don't know. It sounds like it's out in the rural area, so I don't know if there's
open range
pastures or whatever that might have. But even then, like pasture fences and stuff are not the kind of disable you. They're just enough to go, and make you.
Yeah, and if
pull
he's
back.
7 foot tall, most of the time he's going to be able to get right over him. So
Yeah, exactly. Unless he dragged his junk over that wire.
like that picture of the junk hanging from the barbed wire. So that guy had a bad day.
That's all that's left. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh man.
Well, life just got a lot simpler.
Oh, that's a kangaroo. Thank you, all our Aussie friends.
That's right, because
It's just a kangaroo.
they just walk fences in Australia and make these bottle openers. There's a bunch of roo sacks all over the fences over there. This is one of them. I got one right here, folks.
All naturally cultivated.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
It is so troubling to hold this thing. It really is. I don't like holding my own junk, much less somebody else's junk. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. It's like,
Maggie says I saw a roo stuck in a fence a month ago. So yeah, it happens.
oh, jeez.
Poor girl.
Yeah. Oh, that's troubling. But that's that article, folks. I want to make sure to read that one tonight because that's a good Bigfoot story.
Yeah.
Where did it go? What happened? We don't know. It was just there.
And gone.
Then it wasn't. So, not sure what happened. But here's an article that I wanted to cover tonight, and this is kind of a cool one. I know many of you out there are big fans of the Missing 411 and David Paulides' work, and rightfully so. What he's done is some really amazing stuff. But this is an article from our very good friend, Mr. Brent Swancer, who writes for MysteriousUniverse.org. And remember, you can get in touch with him and get involved in his group on Facebook by looking for Dark League Paranormal. And that's in Facebook groups, and that's Brent Swancer's group. Fantastic guy, just an incredibly talented writer. And we've had a lot of fun showcasing his articles here on the show, with his permission, of course. And we're going to do so again. And by all means, check out MysteriousUniverse.org, folks. That's a phenomenal site as well, full of great, great articles. They have a lot of talented writers there. So the article in question is Some Strange Cases of Weird Vanishings and Amnesia. Very cool. This is from November 24th, so it's a brand new article. He just posted this on our Paranormal Portal fans page today, so I was like, ooh, we got to do that one. Got to cover that one. So, again, special thank you to Brent Swancer for continuing to be a part of our family and for showcasing your articles on our sites as well. So, here you go. Some strange cases of weird vanishings and amnesia, Don. Mm-hmm. What makes us who we are? What is the stuff of our identity and our sense of our place in the world? This has been talked about and debated for ages, but one thing seems to be true is that is our memory that holds us all together. Without our memories, those threads that hold together who we are, there is nothing. Yet, what happens when our memories are wiped away and we're left in a blank state? Here we get into some pretty strange territory and a selection of cases of mysterious people who vanished only to come back with no memory of what has happened to them and indeed no understanding of who they even really are. Our first case here goes quite a way back to the late 19th century and a 61-year-old man by the name of Ansel Bourne, an evangelical preacher and carpenter living in Coventry, Rhode Island in the United States. In January of 1887, he left Rhode Island to vanish without a trace. He would apparently travel to Norristown, Pennsylvania, in order to open a stationery shop under the name of Albert J. Brown, taking his whole life savings with him in order to apparently start a new life. Although no one at the time knew this, and by all appearances, he had just walked off the face of the earth. No one seems to know why he had suddenly packed everything up and gone off to do this, nor why he would take up making stationery, considering that he had always been a carpenter by trade. And there's no way to know if there's any connection between the oddities that would follow. Things seem to have gone well for at least the first 2 months, all while people searched for him in his hometown. But then in March of that year, his life would further unravel into a very strange tale of the weird. On March 14th, 1887, Bourne, or Brown, as he was now known, woke up and simply did not know who he was or where he was. In fact, he still thought it was January and seemed to have no awareness that the preceding 2 months had even existed at all. When he was told that his name was Brown, he did not recognize that name and insisted that he was a carpenter named Ansel Bourne. His new life as Brown seemed to have totally, it says fed, but I think fled, from his mind, with him not recalling starting the stationery shop nor his move to Pennsylvania. Local doctors examined him and came to the conclusion that he was suffering some form of amnesia, but it was not clear why this should be. As he had suffered no injury or traumatic event, he had simply gone to bed one evening as Brown and then woken up as Bourne again. His identity and memories of Bourne remained completely intact, but the prior 2 months were a foggy blank, as if he'd been under the possession of an entity called Brown.
He woke up born again.
Yeah, I saw that movie. Making it even stranger is that psychologist William James of Harvard University and Richard Hodgson of the Society for Psychical Research would study him and found that when put under hypnosis, they were able to conjure up the personalities of both Brown and Bourne, both of which seemed to be unaware that the other existed at all. The case of Ansel Bourne has gone on to be known as one of the earliest examples documented cases of multiple personality and amnesia, as well as a possible case of what is called dissociative fugue, wherein the consciousness of an individual sort of withdraws as the body goes about its business, often under a different identity, and it is hard to tell just what might have happened here. What happened to this man, and why did some new personality emerge to live 2 months in a new life only to disappear and leave Bourne unaware that it had even happened? We may never know, and the case has been largely credited with being the inspiration for Jason Bourne of the Bourne Identity movie series.
You know, that's really actually incredible. I'm sorry to jump in here, but
by all means.
You know, yeah, so, but dissociative fugue, but how long can this state last? I mean, I've never heard of, I've never heard of it lasting, one episode lasting for 2 months.
Oh, really?
That's incredible.
Yeah, I can't say I'm at all familiar with it, so I don't have a basis for that. But yeah, that's incredible. It says, moving forward in time to the year 1985, we have the case of Jody Roberts, a former reporter for the New Tribune of Tacoma, who suddenly and inexplicably went missing from Tacoma, Washington. There was no sign of her. The disappearance remained unsolved, and little did anyone know that at the same time there was a woman who had mysteriously appeared in a shopping mall in Colorado with no memory of how she had gotten there. She would spend 4 months in the hospital with no one able to figure out who she was.
Wow.
And eventually take up a new identity under the name of Jane D. That was clever. Starting a new life with no recollection of who she was or where she had come from. All while those who knew her in Washington basically gave her up for dead. In 1989, she got married and moved to Alaska, living in a fishing village on the outer coast of Baranof Island, along the southeast Alaska panhandle, and having 4 children. She started an internet webpage design company and was oblivious to her own life before that trip to the mall in Colorado. That might have been the end of it, but 12 years after she went missing, someone by chance recognized her in Alaska. And before long, the media had moved in to find out that Dee was in fact the long-lost reporter from Tacoma who had become a mysterious vanishing and cold case being treated as a homicide. When confronted with her past life and past family, she had no recollection of anything at all, seemingly confused about the whole ordeal. And although she seemed pleased to reconnect with her past life, she was never able to remember any of it. She mostly withdrew from the media attention, and just as speculation was swirling that she was faking it all, she'd disappear again, and this time for good, leaving behind her new husband and children and not being seen since. What happened to Jody Roberts? No one knows.
Wow.
So she still could be out there. Wow. Our next case begins on April 9th, 2011, when a 33-year-old mother of 4 named Amber Gerwick disappeared from her home in Jackson, Michigan. She'd just gone through a divorce, but was close with her kids, so it was strange when she just went out and never came back. Her car was found in Georgia, about 30 miles from her parents' house, with the keys and ID still in the vehicle. But there was no other trace of where she had gone. No one knew what had become of her until a month later when a woman walked into a police station in Joliet, Illinois, 600 miles from her parents' house in Georgia, claiming that she had no idea of who or where she was. There were no signs of injury, no trace of drugs or alcohol in her system, yet she claimed she had no idea who she was. When her photo was released to the media, it did not take long for people to identify her as missing Gerwick, but even when reunited with her family and loved ones, she could not remember.
Wow.
She would eventually regain bits and pieces of her memory, but most of her life remains in a fog, and no one knows exactly why. She was officially diagnosed with psychogenic amnesia, also known as dissociative amnesia, a sort of dissociative fugue, usually caused by some sort of trauma, either psychological or physical. Indeed, although Gerwick has no memory of her disappearance, she seems to be under the impression that she was attacked at some point. She would say that she vaguely remembers someone in her car with her saying, "I remember looking in the mirror and panicking, not knowing who the person in the mirror was," which was the most terrifying thing in the world. I'm going to tell you that right now I still don't look the way I expect when I look in the mirror. I don't remember anything after that. I don't remember driving to Georgia. I don't remember how I got to Illinois. I don't remember being in the park. I don't remember talking to any police, and I don't remember getting to the hospital. It's going to sound callous, but I wasn't excited when I was found. I didn't remember these kids. I knew that they were mine because I had been told that they were mine, but I didn't remember anything about them.
Wow.
Wow, that's got to be so rough.
On everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just her. It's these children, and
well, yeah.
I don't know what ages they were, but
well, it doesn't matter. What would it be like? Your mom walking up to you and going, "I don't know who the hell you are."
Yeah, what was your name again? Oh, yeah, it's a tough thing.
Yeah.
Wow. In this case, it may be that her amnesia was her brain's way of helping her trying to cope with some trauma. One Dr. Jason Brandt, a professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, would say of this particular disorder and its victims, they're not problems of the brain. They're not conditions where there's an abnormality of the brain, but they're things that people are doing. They're disorders of behavior. The brain itself is healthy, and the programming just got screwed up. When we see these patients, we often say, listen, the good news is you're going to get better. There's nothing wrong with your brain. You have a healthy brain. The person really has nothing wrong with their memory. They're just not retrieving it when they want to. The passage of time and treatment, it comes back. This is kind of a psychological running away. I'm not implying that it is a conscious decision. Very often it's not conscious. It's a way of escaping from an intolerable situation. It's still not understood how she made it to Joliet from Georgia without her car, nor why she doesn't remember anything that happened to her. We're left to try and understand just what happened to these people. Were their lives really erased from their mind, or is there something else going on here? How could they so fully forget who they were and where they would have come from? Is it all indicative of some willing need to start a new life, or is there possibly powers of the human mind at work here? We may never know for sure, and it all hints at some pretty odd stuff. That is such a good article.
It is, yeah.
All the way to the inspiration for Jason Bourne.
Right.
I mean, this is why I love this guy's articles. He doesn't just talk about, hey, this happened here, this happened here. The end. He goes into the whole train of it.
Right.
I don't know how he does it, though. I don't know how he researches this stuff.
Yeah.
The guy is a whiz.
So I guess well, okay, so I was thinking of like personality disorder. What is it called? Like a schizophrenia type thing.
Sure. Dissociative personality
Yeah,
disorder?
there you go. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So instead of a fugue, instead of a dissociative fugue, but still enough, 2 months or even years of not remembering is that's unfathomable to me.
It does seem tough. I mean, I just couldn't imagine, like, hey, there's your kid. Oh, really? That's mine?
I have
I mean,
no
I couldn't
idea.
imagine not recognizing that.
Yeah.
And it would torment me, I think, just because I don't think these people fundamentally change their emotional
Right.
behavior. They just can't remember these memories. So it's like being a compassionate person, seeing this child, and I'm just doing it from, the range of children that I have, but I mean, all of them would be like, "Oh my God, you're home, you're back," and how awful that would feel to not know them,
Right.
And you got to remember, is this kind of what Alzheimer's patients deal with, and dementia in the older years of life after you just can't recall those memories,
Right.
and so is this kind of what these people experience, except it's not as like it doesn't have the ebbs and flows
Right.
of dementia or Alzheimer's.
It's just that one
just
line, that
gone.
one past part
Yeah.
of your life is just
just gone. And it's kind of cool that it can be recovered, and in all of these cases, unless of course there's a whole narrative of things going on here
Right.
where maybe they did need to shut off because some things were just so horrible. And
and it's not, and it's probably, and I bet it's not something, just one thing that happened, like
Sure.
the divorce. Maybe there was abuse up behind it, but she wouldn't
Right.
remember.
right.
So there's that. I could see wanting to disassociate with that kind of thing. I mean, I
And
would
not
understand
remember it, yeah.
exactly. So maybe it's your brain going, okay, we're getting out of this.
Yeah.
And you're going to forget about this.
Do
and
over.
You may or may not remember later.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there are reasons that that aren't obvious is kind of my point. It's there's I can't remember the name of the affliction, but young people 15, 16, 17, they're developing these tics that just come out of nowhere.
Right.
It's not Tourette's, it's not, they're just tics. And a lot of people are saying, and this is a phenomena that's been happening for the last.
TikToks. Sorry, go ahead. I just had to do that.
Actually, that's where I found this out at. Is on
Oh, really?
TikTok. Yeah. So, but apparently, it's just coming out, and this is a new phenomena within the last year and a half to 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Weird, huh? And the doctors are calling it stress. It's due to stress.
Sure.
What, from coronavirus?
Yeah. who knows?
That's what's causing these kids to tick like this? No, I doubt that.
Probably not.
As a matter of fact, one of the TikTokers I watched, her mom, she said that the little gal, no vaccine, nothing. They don't want to do that because they don't know what's going on. So it's not
sure.
it's not necessarily due to that kind of thing, but they claim it's not stress either. So you never know. But
Gotcha.
there you go. Yeah.
MCAT says I've never been around psychiatrics, just surgeons, and that bunch has stories that'll make your skin crawl. I'll bet. I couldn't imagine. Let's see. I'm just looking through the comments to see if there's anything else.
Well, Elaine Clifford says they bury trauma in other personalities. Yeah, that's
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's really sad to know you're diagnosed with Alzheimer's and try to hold on your loved ones. There's a TikTok channel of a woman with that. Yeah, I can imagine that as well.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. You dive into TikTok and you find all these things that you really never really thought about, and it's like, wow, okay, you learn all these new things, and it's really. Some of it, sometimes you can get in that rabbit hole and go, I just wasted like 4 hours of my life. And then sometimes you're like, wow, that's really, truly interesting,
Right.
So,
oh, sure.
but
Yeah,
there you go.
there's merit to these things, and there's information out there, and that's what I was talking about before. It's like never in the history of our race as human beings has there been so much information accessible, And that's a double-edged sword, of course,
Sure enough.
but it is, if you look and you search, you can find anything. I mean, you could learn anything you want to based on just stuff that's freely available on the internet. I think it's amazing stuff. I like my car broke down and the fuel pump went, and unfortunately on my car that I used to have, there's the fuel pump is buried under the back seat, passenger seat, the rear passenger seat of the car,
Right.
under the actual metal and stuff. And I was able to go online and find out the exact measurements, exactly where to find it,
Right.
where to cut through the part of the car, the metal,
Right.
and I got through there and peeled it up, and sure enough, there was the fuel pump. I was like, oh my God, and this is me. I'm not a mechanic.
Right.
I'm an intelligent guy, I think, but I didn't know in a million years that was something that I could do, but I was able to find the information and do that and repair the fuel pump in my car. Otherwise, it would have cost me like $2,500
Yeah,
to
massive
take
amounts.
it to a garage and have them drop the rear end, drop the fuel tank,
Right.
get to it, and then put it back all together, and hopefully it worked. So yeah, it's an amazing time to be alive for sure.
And it's sometimes a damn scary way. I want to
Oh, sure.
too, there's
Absolutely.
with all that's going on.
Absolutely, I think there's certainly a lot of fear right now going on, a lot of trepidation, the unknowns and stuff. But just remember, folks, we're all going through it together, and that's why it's important to be there for each other as much as we can be.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I don't know, Don. I think that's a show.
I think it is, yeah, because I got things to do tomorrow.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't plan on doing a show tomorrow, so I just want to wish you all, from all of us here in the Paranormal Portal and from Sheldon as well, a really happy Thanksgiving to those of you that are celebrating, but a special thanks to all of you with sincere love and appreciation for all that you guys have brought to the show, and all the work you guys do and spreading the word about the shows. And thank you so much, because I know people drop these little platitudes all the time online, but I am always deeply honored to turn on the show, turn on the stream, and to upload the podcast or whatever, and just see so many people enjoying those things and being a part of them. All of you in our live audiences, you guys make this an incredible journey, and thank you so much for the gift of that, because you guys are allowing us to do this, and thank you so much for that. So
And you suckers keep coming back.
well, I'm glad you do. So don't quit. But that's all I got to say. Anything you want to say, Don?
No, just happy Thanksgiving. You guys be safe tomorrow in whatever you're doing. MCAT's not on the road tomorrow. He's sitting home watching football and doing a few, 12-ounce curls, or maybe 16-ounce curls. I don't know. It may be just a couple ounce curls. I don't know. But hey, enjoy that there, Mr. MCAT. Everybody else, thank you for our Australians and other people who don't necessarily enjoy Thanksgiving or celebrate Thanksgiving. Have a great day.
Yeah, and thank you all so much. And all I can say then is at the end, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And thanks for being on the journey with us tonight. We'll return on Friday night for another 2-hour fun fest here of the Paranormal Portal. So we'll see you then. Cue the credits.
Run 'em.